You're listening to Myers-Briggs Question Corner with Edythe Richards.
This question comes from a guy I'll call Jason. As an INTP, it's hard for me to communicate my value in job interviews. I don't interview well. I'm pretty shy and feel awkward, and as a result, I rarely get job offers. But a job interview is all about selling oneself. Do you have any tips for better communication strategies for INTPs? So first, I have to acknowledge the courage Jason is displaying here by asking about a very difficult topic for INTPs to address, communication and interpersonally relating to others. For most INTPs, as they grow and mature, they'll see the value of personal connections and making a good impression. But true to their nature, this may be a struggle, particularly in job interviews. The most important thing I need to say to my INTP listeners here, you are one of the rarest Myers-Briggs types, and therefore you don't operate on the same level as the rest of the world. This means that you're often misunderstood because other people just aren't paying attention to the same things that you are. This really does make communication a challenge. The bottom line is that if you want others to listen to all you have to offer, you've got to listen to and respect their needs and viewpoints as well. I'd like to break Jason's question into two parts. First, I'll focus on interviewing tips specifically for INTP types. And second, I'll provide some general tips on interviews that both my INTP and other Myers-Briggs type listeners should find helpful. My first tip is to seek to understand, not analyze. As an INTP, logical analysis is perhaps your greatest strength, but beware in taking it to extremes. Your task at the interview is to first and foremost develop rapport with the interviewer, which will get them to pay attention to what you have to say. However illogical it may seem to you, it's very important that you try to smile, to be friendly, and, if appropriate, ask questions to facilitate interaction. Now, this advice isn't going to be popular among INTPs, but the best way to get better at job interviewing is to practice at meet and greet type sessions, such as networking events. Resist the urge to get stuck in your own head, focusing too much on data instead of the world around you. Mingling with others and consciously asking them about themselves, even though it may seem like a huge waste of time, is an important step to building relationships. Plus, it helps you learn about the world around you rather than focusing on your own perspective inside your head. Yes, these types of networking events can be exhausting and superficial, especially to INTP types, but the more you practice, the more comfortable you'll get with small talk, and the more natural you'll come across, and the better you'll be able to communicate with potential advocates or influencers you could meet at these events. When having a conversation, spend at least half of the time talking about the other person. Concentrate on really understanding that person's point of view. Ask questions to try to get the other person to open up. You can think of it as a challenging game. If you go to one such event every week and talk to at least 2 different people at the event, you can have the entire weekend to hole up in your cave by yourself as a reward. My second tip is to be careful of going off on impractical tangents. Open-ended exploration of ideas may seem inefficient to others who are more results-focused. Considering that only about 25% of people are intuitive types, it's very likely that you'll be communicating with a sensing type in an interview. Additionally, many corporate environments value decisiveness over information gathering, thus a preference for judging over perceiving. Recognize that you, as an INTP, may naturally avoid making decisions or establishing structure and order, and to others, this may seem as disinterest or not taking the task seriously. Try to resist the urge to focus on complex theories and abstract ideas unless specifically asked, and then recognize your interviewer's objective and agenda. Many interviewers, particularly first interviews, focus on specific results you've obtained and professional accomplishments from your past. It may therefore be helpful to write down your accomplishments in a STAR format: situation, task, action, result. Another suggestion is to practice explaining your thoughts in 3 to 5 key, easily understandable points. Practice with a trusted friend or colleague and really listen to their feedback and implement their suggestions. Now, no matter the Myers-Briggs type, there are a few things everyone can do in preparing for an interview to maximize your success. First is to research both the company and the interviewer. Go through the company's website, annual reports, publications, and other pertinent information. What projects are they working on? What's the work environment like? How do employees communicate with each other? How are employees evaluated? Similarly, gathering information about the interviewer or interviewers will help you not only understand what information they'll most likely be paying attention to, but can help you create questions to ask during your interview. Second, practice the "tell me about yourself" question. Now, the reason I'm saying this is that whether it's conscious or unconscious, people will form an opinion about you within the first 10 seconds they meet you. And this concept is known as thin slicing, and to learn more about it, you can look up Malcolm Gladwell's concept in his book, Blink. The "tell me about yourself" question, or a version of it, is almost always the first question asked and is used to set the stage. What you choose to say is important, but it's also how you choose to convey information. You want to be confident but not arrogant, alert but not nervous. Above all, you want to demonstrate both your capability and your likability. Third, tell them why they should hire you. Every interviewer wants to know why you're the best candidate for the job. If you've done thorough research, you'll already know how your skills and background will be of value to the organization. I suggest creating a list of accomplishments and really focusing in on the top 3 to 5 that will be of most value to this particular interview. Think about ways you can bring them up during the conversation. Fourth, practice. Again, if you've done your research, you can anticipate the questions you'll likely be asked in the interview. Practice answering them with a trusted friend or colleague. Take suggestions seriously, but also remember that most feedback is subjective. The only opinion that matters is the interviewer's or the person offering you a job. Thank you for the question, Jason. I hope this inspires you on your journey to a fulfilling career. Please share this podcast to INTP types and others you know who can benefit.
Thanks for listening to this episode. If you'd like to hear more, or you'd like to submit a question yourself, then you can find us at www.atopcareer.com. Until next time. MBTI and Myers-Briggs are registered trademarks of the MBTI Trust.